Hello, everyone. This is Cody Lee of BlackCatBooks.org, author of I, the Dragon, Cruel and Beautiful, Rabbit Hole, King Deal, Lauren Frey, and the upcoming Jaw the Dragon. So, with the recent sale of EDOS going into the hands of Embracer, from Square Enix to Embracer, there's been a lot of discussion about what's going to happen to the EDOS brand. There are some delusional motherfuckers like Razor Fist who think this is going to be like a glorious return to form for EDOS, and they're going to like pump out a bunch of like Deus Ex sequels that are on par with the original, and they'll outsell all the Metal Gear games, and everyone will forget that Kojima ever existed. But like, what's actually going to happen is that I think these games are going to get like middling sequels that are like steps way below what we got like a decade before with in 2013, and re-releases. That's all I really expect from the immediate future. Like maybe like 20 years from now, we'll see something from these IPs, but I really do think we're at the point where like I don't think anyone really remembers Deus Ex. I don't think anyone remembers any of the IPs that Square Enix sold off. I don't think anyone really cares. And one of the really telling aspects of that is the way Tomb Raider has been handled. It's really interesting to me, like how there have been a bunch of articles over the years, like bragging about how well Tomb Raider sold and how big of a deal the reboot was, and how it like did gangbusters for the company. Like it's like I think they released a statement saying that the reboot trilogy sold like 88 million copies or some shit, or maybe the franchise as a whole sold that much. I don't fucking know. Okay, I love the reboot trilogy, right? Like I love the first one. I love 2013. Like yeah, I love the reboot, the first entry of the reboot. They got steadily work. Like it's a fun little action adventure game. Lara's hot as fuck. It has a unique setting, like great environments, great death animations, like legit real talk, probably the best I've ever seen. Like there's so much stuff to love about Tomb Raider 2013 despite all of its problems. But like the thing that really bugs me about it is the sales, right? Like how it didn't fucking sell that much. And again, this is just me in my observations. Like I've noticed this with a bunch of titles, right? But Square Enix, like if Tomb Raider was such a massive success, they wouldn't have sold it off the way they did, right? They would have kept like putting out sequels, but they did sell it off. Why? Because Tomb Raider has always, in reality, performed way below expectations, like far below what Square Enix wanted from them, and the team at Crystal Dynamics was let go as a result. They were sent away to 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 work on games under a different publisher. So what I this has been like something I've noticed for a long time, right? Where Tomb Raider 2013 like initially launched and sold like something like 3 million units or something like that, a ridiculous amount, right? Square Enix like released a statement saying that it wasn't enough, right? That the game like didn't do very well, and then like each successive sequel kept getting like massive budget slashes and kept doing worse and worse to the point where like I think the third one, Shadow of the Tomb Raider, like probably just didn't do very well at all, like a complete disaster. People weren't talking about it. Like I think it's somehow lost to Uncharted 4, which is just embarrassing for fucking Tomb Raider. So people love calling like Tomb Raider a Uncharted knockoff, but really Tomb Raider came first, buddies. So it's just it's kind of interesting to look at the history of this and to see like, well, how exactly did it sell so many copies, right? Like if it bombed, if it hasn't been like all that popular, like how is it selling so much? What actually happens is that Tomb Raider 2013, the entire reboot trilogy, goes on sale on digital platforms more than anything I've ever seen in my life. I can't even begin to tell you how many times I've gone into Steam and like looked through like specials and trying to find like games I want to play or games I would like to try and stuff like that. And like it's feels like once a year at least I stumble across like all the Tomb Raider games going for like $3 on Steam, and it just it just goes to show you what's actually happening when it comes to these inflated Tomb Raider sales numbers is that people are mass buying every single Tomb Raider game on Steam every time they go on sale. Like they see that like Shadow comes out, like is going for $5, a steal at that price, right? You think, and like you buy it, and then you just don't really you don't play it, you don't think about it again, you don't you don't refund it, and Square Enix gets to keep your money, right? Or like EDOS gets to keep your money, I suppose, since Square Enix doesn't own the IP anymore. So like keep in mind, like considering how many Tomb Raider games are on Steam, I think there's like 19 of them, something like that, and just seeing how often they just go through the same arc of just like going on sale. Um, let's see, Tomb Raider 136 results. That's not all games. Let's see, Anniversary, Tomb Raider 1, Tomb Raider Legend, Tomb Raider 2. Yeah, there has to be like there's like what like 18 games or something at this point, and like you just know there are people like just buying all of them, right, and then never playing them again until the next Tomb Raider comes out. It's something I like to call like a shell IP. I would say like it's an IP that established a legacy for like a really ridiculous reason, like having a female lead, as if that hasn't been done before in Metroid and other Nintendo properties. It sold itself on this idea to its audience, like having a hot female lead. Oh, she's so sexy. Holy shit. Don't you want to buy her game? And then people just line up and just throw money at these developers who never put together a good game in their lives, other than Tomb Raider 2013, which I do legitimately like. But like it's weird to see how many ups and downs Tomb Raider has had over the years, and yet still it still somehow has a following. Like who the fuck is still playing or talking about these games? Like I'm not, and I love Tomb Raider 13. Like I loved it, and to think that there are people out there who still who are like excited about the EDOS acquisition, like the Crystal Dynamics acquisition, like who believe that Tomb Raider is just going to like come back from the grave and be great again and be able to compete with Metroid. It's not going to happen. Like never going to happen. I think Tomb Raider is basically done. I don't see it competing with like other modern IPs. Like it's just the only people who were fans of Tomb Raider are the sort of people who would uh, legitimately get sexually aroused by seeing pixels on their like PlayStation screen. That's what the Tomb Raider audience is like, and those people aren't going to live much longer. They're going to be dead in the next 10, 20 years. Like Spoonie is dead already. Like shit. So I I don't really see a future for any of these IPs, especially not Tomb Raider.